Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I'm back with another video. Y'all, so really quick, I wanted to briefly touch on something that I have, or a decision that I have made for myself. Especially now that one of my good friends is now leaving the state of Colorado. They're someone I've been able to lean on, someone I've been able to trust and depend on. And that person, it feels like our time has just kind of run its course, obviously. And that doesn't mean like he's still my friend, but to see him go is very not, it's been hard on me. And so I am at a point where I want to get another person's opinions, thought processes, and kind of just be able to be that person, so to speak, in a way. By way of just talking and communication and stuff like that. So I have enrolled myself into, or at least I applied for therapy. And my decision really came from obviously this week and the interaction with my daughter. This is the first time that I will say that I genuinely feel like I could have handled the situation better. Right. And me not understanding, there's a lot of things I don't know because this really is my first child. And that's not an excuse, but it is. So there's a lot of things that I was researching yesterday and I was like, huh, okay. So I could have done this better or I could have done that better. And in hopes that it's not always her, maybe sometimes it's me. And when it's me, I need to figure out how to properly communicate in those spaces. Again, I've never been put in a situation where I have to argue with a kid. And if you guys hear my mindset, a lot of times that ain't my mindset. So I do need to learn how to probably argue with a kid. Maybe that's the realistic thing. But I also want to make sure that, after talking to my dad on, I finally reached out to him, you guys. But after talking to my dad, I can't remember, but he did call me, called me quite a few times. And I think I have this false perception sometimes that maybe people don't care about me, but they really do. And I know that a lot of that comes from maybe childhood experiences, but I also don't have anything tangible to really show for the fact that someone cares, right? So it's very difficult for my mind to accept and grasp the fact that I'm cared for when it's like, okay, like I've been through my worst traumas and fears by myself with no support. So it's very difficult to wrap my head around that. Um but when I was talking to him, I realized I was still speaking on a lot of things that had kind of hurt me. And I think what kind of happened, and not as much as it did when I was younger, but realizing that even when you get to a place in life where you're supposed to be, that doesn't change anybody's perception about what they initially thought. Like nobody goes back and says now internally within those people, yes, it may do something. But because you as a person, I'm always looking back like, okay, we'll see. I'm in this space of I'm slowly getting out of it, but I'm in this space of see, I'm becoming what you said I couldn't, or what you said I wasn't going to become, or how you treated me or whatever. And then just looking back and like, are you guys treating me any better? you know? So it's a very human like experience, but I know that it's triggered a level of emotion in me that I really didn't know I still had. Just because any other time I put this shit, what I'm assuming is I stuff it down and I don't really deal with the pain that it causes me. And apparently there's a great deal of pain it causes me. Um, and so I want to be able to work through those things. I know when I see this company growing, it's grown tremendously since I started, okay? And looking at the level of opportunity that is available, um I know that I should be working on myself at a deeper level so that I can keep up with those changes. Meaning that the way the company is growing, there's a good opportunity that my income could increase significantly within the next year, right? But it's up to me to do the job. It's up to me to get it done. It's up to me to put in the footwork. And part of that footwork is self growth. So I think it's time, especially when I have an employer that's paying for it, I might as well go ahead and really invest in myself in a manner of therapeutic services. And this is interesting because it's coming at a time where I've made one of my resolutions is I'm going to stop drinking. Maybe I don't know that I want to go cold. I want to go cold turkey for the times that I'm not social. Okay. I don't feel like I'm that bad to where I need to stop completely. But because I was never a drinker as I am now, and I know the situations around it, and I don't want to say a drinker like that, you guys, I don't really drink like that, but a shot every other day, a shot maybe, you know, every 2 days. That is a lot. And then on top of champagne, right? I'm not really a drinker, but I've begun to pick up, and I don't want to say drinker because I don't know what that really means. Okay, but obviously it's too much for what I'm accustomed to in myself. Part of what I want to be able to do is get back to my average self. I want to say smoking would have to go even at some point and not just at night, right? Just because of the levels that I really want to get to. And I know like my spirit is like, okay, girl, you're there. Like you can see it happening and it's not that far away. Like it's not. I spent a year with this company because I wanted to see how fast, what is it capable of, right? And the talking is one thing, the action is a whole other thing. So to be invested for a year and to see how much it's grown, um, hmm, I may want to see what another year looks like, right? Realistically, because it's taking me further than I've ever been, right? And how much further can I go? Like, my business is something that I can always do on the side, but because I'm looking at monetarily, where am I striving to go? How fast can I get there? What are my goals? What is it that I'm doing? And, I'm just saying the way the company is moving, it appears that things could possibly change drastically in the next few years. And I remember when my mentor said it, you may want to stay there a little bit longer, but it would have been dependent on the company. Again, if it was a company that was staying stagnant, not growing, that's one thing. But a company that's excelling and doing at a very rapid pace, and it started as a small business, you guys have to understand there's a lot of opportunity there. A lot. And this is really why I loved working for small businesses throughout my whole career. I just don't like the way that I've been treated because, again, you're not dealing with companies that have HR. You're not dealing with companies that have a level of ethics that the everyday, corporation would. And so, in that regards, it was a big turnoff too at the same time because there was no level of protection. Here, I feel like it's very well balanced, right? Meaning that even if I'm having a bad day, and even if somebody else is having a bad day, and like it's a really unique experience. Like I said, I've never worked in a culture that is similar to the place that I work, but I love what I do. And I'm grateful to be able to get in with something where I can genuinely build myself, whether that's, today, whether it's a year from now, whether it's, 2 years from now, whatever, you know. So I'm there and I want to be able to grow simultaneously. I don't have anybody in my face anymore telling me to grow, right? So even though I've demonstrated a level of growth, I know that I can go higher. And in order for me to get to where I'm striving to go, because I need this to happen pretty quickly, like it's not like I got much more time to be dragging this out. I need it to happen like the level of income I need to be making it within the next year or two. Okay, so it's not that well to yesterday, really. Um, but the way that I see my life right now, I'm like, okay, there's so much possibility. There's so much white, right? When you're painting a canvas, right now I'm starting from scratch. I'm not really doing the best in the area of family, which is my daughter, right? So maybe I need some help here, right? Now I'm realizing I need some help only because I know that maybe I've been going about this the wrong way. I don't know, because again, I wasn't raised in a household where this stuff was like acceptable. And I know I could go stupid crazy on spanking and all that, but maybe it's because of my past that I really just don't like that route of going places. But I also know that I have to do it. And I also know sometimes that's better than my mouth, right? But I also know who I am, and I know my mouth is my weapon of choice. But I also am dealing with a child, so I have to recognize that she is a child, not an adult. And so, how do I argue with a kid that has a mouth of a grown woman, but is still yet a kid? Because what I'm thinking of is if I'm really going to make this work the way that I want to make this work, and the way my mind envisions making it work, I have to be more resilient than using my mouth as a means of punishment. That's not cool. So, and my thought process is because I really, yesterday I was thinking, like, how do women, like, this is why when I always see young girls and their moms, and I see the type of trauma that I see with the young girls and their moms, and I'm thinking, that ain't right. I wonder how much of the mom is just like, this little girl's are uncontrollable. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And those types of little girls end up, you know, on the streets in bad situations. And I always dreamed of being the mom for my kid that you could always come. I don't need you to be homeless. Like, we're not doing that. We're going to figure this out. Like, you got to stay in my basement type shit because that's what this generation is going to need unless she becomes wealthy. Right? There's no, like, she's going to need me. And so I need to learn how to communicate. with a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, 14-year-old, right? A 16-year-old, because my mind does not compute. It computes child at any other time outside of talking back, running her mouth, all that. Like at that point, I'm like, okay, now you really like after I didn't went the little girl route and you didn't accept it, now I'm ready to snap. So I need to learn better techniques. And I'm not proud of myself. What I will say is that I would like to be there for my child as best as I can, even when things are hard, right? And so if there's a different level of thought process that I should be looking into or looking at or viewing this parenting thing from, then it's time. You know, there was a time when she was younger, it's like I had to adapt to certain development stages of her life. And this is a development stage. I have learned, or at least this is what I feel, that I'm experiencing a developmental shift, you know? And so I cannot approach it from a manner that I once approached it from because she's getting older. So even though I'm frustrated in my mind, I'm not fully justified, but in terms of the behavioral aspect of it, hell yeah, the little girl was out of control, right? At least how we're looking at it, at least how I would be naturally looking at it. But my parenting style has to shift some. And I know this because when I was a teen, there was only so many ways you were going to get through to me. Okay. And certain ways were just not one of them. Okay. And let me be clear, how I've been doing it is not, and again, it shifted at one point because she went from being a baby to being a toddler, right? To being a little kid to now a big kid. And now you're going into preteens and you're going into teenage. So those require me to be adaptable in my thought process as a parent. And I recognize that. Unfortunately, it took me this week to recognize that. And where I do wrong, I can admit I'm wrong, you know. And I'm wrong. Even how I was viewing it is wrong. And I know that sounds crazy because in our minds, you know, we are taught, my generation is taught very much black and white. And it's not really so much black and white, okay, as I guess my mind has thought it to be. I've never had another child before. Like obviously I don't know any other, like I've never had to argue. Let's put it that way with a kid. I've never been put in a position where I had to argue with a child. And so I really don't know how to argue with a child. I'm gonna be honest with you. So that's something I'm recognizing. Um, and I think that with everything going on, like I said, even when I was talking to my dad, you guys, I realized that I was dealing with a level of pain. Like the things that I was talking on and the level of anger that came from what I was speaking on, even though that stuff happened months ago. I think even just talking to my dad, believe it or not, I didn't know how to really tell him, like, I really don't want to talk to you. I don't know how to be that way. But at the same time, it's like, hey, like, you guys have to understand, I'm still questioning a hell of a lot from my childhood. So for me, it's like, out of sight, out of mind. You're not, and that's what I kept telling them. Like, you guys aren't around, so you know, my life seems to be going better. Like, I don't call you guys because I see my life is going better. I just need to be able to deal with all that shit in my own time, not your time, you know. So I tried my best to say all that to him without saying it. but saying it at the same time so he understands, like, this ain't about you, homie. It's about me. It's about me figuring out where I want to go, figuring out my life, figuring out what's hindering me, what's holding me back, what's blocking me, whatever. And it's for me to do it at my pace on my time. So it's a hard dynamic that I realize it's not hard. I just need help, and that doesn't mean anything. It just means that I need another perspective. I need a more, you know, professional perspective to kind of help me see what I need to see so that I can advance to the next level. Because everything I feel like I did this year is building me for something. But in order for me to get there, I know that there's certain aspects of me that I have to be willing to work through and be a little bit more open to. That makes sense. So I submitted an application to they've got a very high star rating in the neighborhood. And it just so happens where I live is not, I don't know, but it's in a good district and it's surrounded by good entity, like good communities that are considered affluent or considered high, earning community. So I appreciate it. I'm going to, like I said, I want to be able to take advantage of all the options that I have in order to just ensure that I'm living a healthy, I hear that word so much, but it's the truth. To ensure that I'm living a healthy lifestyle. And I'm curious, like I said, because I know my personality can be intense. I'm curious to see who they pair me with at some point. I'm curious to see um who I become if I'm really open, because I'm open. When I did therapy as a young teen, I was not open. If I'm paying for it, I'm definitely open, right? So I'm definitely open I'm committed to just going on that journey. And like I said, my goal is to be the best version of myself in all areas. So obviously, I got issues within my family, I got issues all around in family, right? So it would make sense for me to do therapy to kind of unravel a lot of that stuff and deal with a lot of that stuff. And then maybe I can be a better daughter or a better, wife or a better sister or better mother, right? All of these things that I know that I'm clearly not, right? I mean, as far as a wife, I've never been a wife. So I don't know if that's, I'm just throwing it out there so y'all get my point. Not really because I'm saying I want to be a wife. I don't know what I want yet. I think I need to deal with my family issues. I think it's time, and I think I'm genuinely ready. Part of my decision was made because I am writing a book. I've gotten through 2 chapters thus far. Whoop whoop. So I'm so excited. But I want to be able to, like, again, approach it from a more objective standpoint than this is how I'm feeling in the moment standpoint. When I was talking to my father and I'm telling him certain things that were playing out, I'm upset as if the situation, like that same level of pain arise as if I was going through it again. So I know I need help there because clearly there's something that I refuse to unpack and we got to deal with it. So I'm excited, you guys. This is the next step of my journey. Come the first is really just I want to, I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but this is my New Year's resolution. I want to grow with everything that I got going on. Like everything is growing, right? But if your mental ain't there, you're only gonna fall backwards. And I know this. So for me, it's all about, okay, come Monday, well, really it's Sunday, but come Monday, my head is in the game 100% and I'm ready to take off. Now, the therapy stuff, I'm expecting the application to take a little bit. But then again, these people have a very high rating, so I don't know. But I'm expecting that not to kick in until, spring, right? But once I do give it a year, I'm excited because, like I said, I think this is the best route for me with where I see everything going in my life and growing to. I don't want to be the mom that's mean to my daughter. Like, I want to be nice. I want to be, I mean, I'm super nice, actually. Like, and I know this sounds bad, you guys, because I'm like, no, let's take that back. My kid was really out of line. However, it is on me to be the freaking parent and not the child, meaning that it is my responsibility to not react to her non like the stuff that's going on. And that's not the easiest thing to do, but I'm realizing that that's what has to be done so that I can be the parent and remain the parent at all times. I've not, I know that this is going to come with a level of training, just as if I'm able to do it in my everyday relationships, I should be able to do it with my daughter. It's harder because my daughter can push my emotional buttons. She knows how to. It's on me to not allow it to cause a reaction out of me so I can think objectively. And that's where I'm realizing I'm falling short. So if I'm being taught, if I'm in therapy, and I feel like being able to share, this is all the things that I want to get out of this, I should be able to do okay. I feel like I would do okay. And I almost think that pairing me with another mom is probably the best option. A mom that's worked through her shit, that's got her shit together, and can teach me or show me or help me to understand where I need to be so that I can be the best version of me possible. So that is my journey for Saturday. That is my story today that I'm sharing with you guys for Self Love Saturday. Again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.